Good morning and welcome to Johnny Insura Live from New York. I'm glad you've joined us today. We've got a couple of gentlemen here I'd like to share with you, and we're going to talk about the insurance trends and what's been going on for the last 10 years in the industry here in the year 2025. I have with me today Jamie Walthall and Julian Silvestro with S&W Insurance Concepts out of Richmond, Virginia. They've graciously come to join us up here in New York to share some of the wonderful things going on in the industry. Well, I'll tell you what, with the working in the consulting business, you must work with such a wide variety of insurance issues and matters and that sort of thing. Let's just talk about some of the different aspects of it. Let's talk about technology, for example. Over the past 10 years or so, what's been emerging in the technology world?
Great question, Johnny. For almost everything now is done online. Everyone can quote online. You can get access online. You can research companies online. You know, 24/7 is the new speed, and clients are expecting you to do the unimaginable to get quotes through.
What was that word again?
Unimaginable.
Okay.
In the future, we make up words, but it's very, very, very fast speed. Wouldn't you admit?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think things that have contributed to that are technology, the wearable technology, the implantable technology. I mean, I've got a chip in my head that records everything that we're talking about. So I can play it back and I never have to have any kind of law disputes about what was or wasn't said. You can walk down the street and pull up your email on your sunglasses. You look like a nerd, but it's kind of how it goes. I've got portable chargers inside my jacket. The more data that's being collected, not only, brings on positives for the insurance industry, but it also can bring on some negatives too. So there's some, scary parts of the wearable technologies and the amount of data that our devices hold on us, and where we are and what we're doing and all of that kind of stuff. So, it's kind of a good on one side and kind of scary, risky on the other.
With the changes in technology, it also has to address those ever-changing and emerging risks that are happening out there these days. Can you shed any light on that?
Well, I think driverless cars are a real big issue today. I believe the stats are that 40% of the cars that are on the road are actually driverless. That's created a lot of lawsuits in the industry, a lot of litigation, a lot of gray area that can't be sorted out through the legal system when it comes to who's at fault at the accident, the driverless car or the actual other driver. I think the roads are much safer. I think the numbers really show that getting people out of cars has been very effective for safety. But it's still, we've got a lot to learn about creating the right insurance products for this kind of artificial intelligence that's out there.
Can you imagine getting pulled over by a driverless police officer?
I think that's what we're facing.
Anything else you'd like to add on that?
Yeah, just kind of what I touched on earlier, data breach and cyber liability, the access to information that we've kind of given up voluntarily on ourselves, the cyber liability aspect of that is really everywhere. And it's really kind of the new property insurance. People know they need it. People have to buy it. You got to keep your kind of technological landscape from burning down, so to speak.
All wonderful points, and I appreciate your insight on that. I've got to wonder that the dynamics of the changing world out there, that the consumer is a little different than it was in the past years. What's the insurance consumer like these days?
Well, the modern insurance consumer, sometimes we like to call it an insumer, are much more savvy than previous generations. Every generation becomes a lot more smarter than the next. But what we're seeing now is this consumer is very comfortable shopping online. They're very comfortable finding the research and getting the knowledge they need. The professionals still exist and are the consultants, but when you can go to really anywhere and purchase insurance, I think Amazon is now selling insurance products, it's very tough to differentiate yourself for the independent agent. So it's been a fight for us to really try to differentiate ourselves.
And I think they also want transparency. It started out with things as simple as, where do my eggs come from and are they free range? And now it's into their insurance policies. They want to have clear communication. People want to understand what it is they're buying, and it's so time sensitive, and everything's needed yesterday. So it's speed and accuracy and that level of helping people understand what it is that they're actually buying.
Where do you see you guys 10 years from now? That's another television show, but I may not be around 10 years from now.
We'll be flying around in space cars.
I may not be around at the end of the commercial break. Today's adventure with these wonderful gentlemen has been a lot of fun in the industry. We talked about all the emerging things that have happened this past year, past 10 years, I should say, in the insurance industry. And if you'd like more information, I hope you'll go to my website. That's www.iiav.com. We'll talk about, we'll revisit some of the highlights of today's adventure and start talking about what we're going to do for our next show, because I want you to turn in next time when you visit us, where we'll be talking about the wearable devices, the risks you are wearing. He was talking about the charging devices in his underneath of his jacket. God forbid you'll ever get caught in a rainstorm and short yourself out. So thank you again for attending today and visiting with us, and we'll see you next time.